The purpose of a pinch pot is to create a base or a small bowl. Please write this on your worksheet now. Now we're going to form a pinch pot. Our first step is to pat a wedge piece of clay into a ball. Doesn't need to be a perfect sphere, but this is just going to set you up to create your bowl. This is not wedging, so make sure that your clay has been wedged before. Again, not a perfect sphere, doesn't really matter too much. Now, our second step is to press your thumb into the clay, into the top, so that it doesn't break through the bottom. So make sure, kind of hold it in one hand so that you can feel the distance between your thumb and your other hand. Don't want to break through the bottom. This step is probably the toughest step for a lot of students when making the pinch pot. As you're thinning out the sides, you're going to need to start at the bottom so that your sides maintain a nice even thickness throughout. If you start up at the top and make it really skinny at the top first, you're just going to have to start over again. So, pinching in between your fingers here and your thumb on the inside, you're going to start to thin from that bottom edge. Notice how thick the top is staying even as I'm thinning the bottom. It's better to make really small pinching motions rather than trying to pinch a lot or one spot, all just getting it the exact thickness you want. Just pinch a little bit, a little bit, a little bit until it thins out to the thickness you'd like. So remember, we're starting at the bottom here and getting that thin before the top edge gets thin at all. Our next step, step number 4, is to continue pinching until the walls are about 1/2 inch thick. That's about as thick as your pinky finger. Be patient with this process because it does take a little bit of time to get the sides really even. This will be the base for the rest of your project, so you're going to want to make it right. Otherwise, it'll be really difficult to do the rest of your project. So I'm slowly thinning out, working up the sides. See how thick that top edge is still. If I get cracks like this, I can smooth those out with just a tiny bit of water as I go. Notice how little water that was. Definitely not enough to run down to the bottom. If you make it too watery, it's going to be difficult to work with. It's going to kind of fall apart. The sides are going to droop. So if there's just a little bit of cracking at the top edge, not anything to worry about. Just kind of smooth that together as you go. My pinch pot does not need to be the size of my finished bowl or my finished project. It's just not enough clay to do that, so don't expect yourself to have the size that you need for your finished product. We'll build that up with coils later on. What I want you to worry about is creating a pinch pot where the side kind of flares out like this, that it gets larger towards the top. I'm always working it with this hand underneath so that it's not sticking to my table. I'm still on step number 4. Step number 4 takes a while when building your pinch pot. I'm going to kind of check by holding it underneath and then using my fingers of the hand that I write with. For me, that's my right hand. Kind of checking the thickness, feeling how thick it is in between my two hands. I can also feel how thick it is between my index finger and my thumb on the inside. Okay, we're getting pretty close. See how that top edge is staying nice and thick? I have never ever pinched that very much, really. Now what I'm going to do is dip my fingers in just a tiny amount of water to smooth out that top edge so that I don't see any cracks. This would be especially important if you're making something where the pinch pot is the final product and you're not adding any coils. Even if you're adding coils though, it's nice to get that top edge smooth and ready to receive the coils. Just a tiny bit more water to smooth out those cracks. Should be even thickness, the whole thing. Smooth out any rough spots. Without adding too much water, because that's just going to make it fall apart. There's our finished pinch pot. Can smooth out the outside a little bit. So this is what we're aiming for. What the bottom looks like.